Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone for teaching us His truth to rule well. I want to go into, a little bit of prophecy. And by a little bit of prophecy, I just want to go into the current Roman system that is in place, all right, which was started in 1957 through the EEC, which is the European, what is called today the EU, the European Union, by NATO and the EU. All right, but the EEC treaty was the Treaty of Rome, okay, which were 10 countries that signed, which are the 10 crowns, okay, and the 7 heads represent 7 different nations of Edomite supremacy or rulership. Okay, but first let me get into this. It says Fox News Rep Crenshaw on who is to blame for Capitol riots. All right, it has been unheard of for something to happen like it did. What was it, yesterday? What happened yesterday was extreme. Something that was unprecedented and unheard of. So, I was looking at the video, at the news, and, what they're saying, keeping up with the story, the storyline. People are saying that it was a setup. Some people are saying that it was Trump that was behind it. You have people going back and forth. You had, what's his name? Sleepy Joe that made a comment earlier today. And he said if those were people of the Black Lives Matter movement, those people would have been treated much different than, the Trump supporters, supposed Trump supporters that stormed the Capitol. So there's a bunch of blaming going on with the higher ups. Okay, he said, she said, and you have this person commented, why should anyone trust either party after this mess they created? Okay, it says so many nasty, evil, corrupted career politician liars in the Capitol. Shame on the media, social media. It says, and we are tired of being lied to. This ain't over. Okay, and those are just 3 comments, So I wanted to go a little bit into, first, let me go over here to Revelations. Revelations 13 and 4 says, and they worshiped the dragon which gave power unto the beast. All right, and that power that was given unto the beast is NATO and the EU, and the power that they possess. Because after what happened yesterday with democracy and, with the Capitol in the United States, you had many nations that commented and many allies that commented and said that America stands, okay, because they're the symbol of democracy. Okay, and for something to happen like this in supposed, what they say, the birthland of democracy, okay, or the pillar of democracy, for something to happen, like something as serious like this to happen is unprecedented. Okay, so they worship the dragon which gave power unto the beast, which is what? The Roman system. Okay, it says, and they worship the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast? You see, who is able to make war with him? Okay, so who's able to make war or come and compete with this democracy that they're trying to bring forth, man? It says, and there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies, and power was given him to continue 40 and 2 months. Okay, and right now America is on that decline. Okay, because that mouth speaking great things and blasphemies are those things that they've spoken about being, the higher ups, about being the true gods of the earth. Okay, speaking great things, saying and promising, certain things to we the people, as they say. And that 40 and 2 months is talking about really 350 years, which started in 1620. Okay, and the starting and downfall of Babylon the Great is when they reach the stars, which is 1969, 1970, is when the first, what is it called? At the end of 1969, beginning of 1970, is when you had the first, what is it called? The first Apollo mission that was failed. Okay, after those successful Apollo missions, you had that unsuccessful Apollo mission, and it's been on a decline from then. Okay, and that was a space of 350 years from 1620 when they really got on those ships to, the time of them reaching the heavens through their space program, NASA, and what now is called the Space Force. All right, America is not going to be made great again. Okay, Revelations 13:6, and he opened his mouth in blasphemy against the Most High, to blaspheme his name and his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven. Why? Because now they're saying that the real Jews are the so-called white men. They're saying that the Most High is a white man. They're saying that Adam was a white man, saying that everybody historically righteous were white men. Okay? It says, and it was given unto him to make war with the saints and to overcome them, and power was given to him over all kindreds and tongues and nations. Now, who's the most powerful nation on the earth? The United States of America. Okay? And if you say, no, that's not what it means, then we're not talking to you. Okay? We're not talking to you. If you want to be blind, then be blind. Okay? We're not here to convince you. We're here to wake up the elect. And when you wake somebody up that wants to be woken up, okay, you're not going to have too much of a struggle in order to wake them up. Okay? If you're going on a vacation the next day, all right, and that vacation entails of you gaining, okay, you having fun, and you seeing beautiful sights, I promise you that person that's waking up early in the morning is not going to complain. Okay, that person's not going to complain. They're going to be ready, up and ready. Okay, but when it entails of something that they don't want to do, entails of something that they feel like is some type of what is it called? The responsibility that they have to take, they're not going to do it. Okay, and that's why Scripture talks about the sluggard will not plow in by reason of the cold. In the book of Proverbs, a sluggard will not plow by reason of the cold. So we're speaking to the elect, and it says, verse 7, and it was given to him to make war with the saints and to overcome them. Okay, and that's getting ready to happen as well as it happened back then. It says, and power was given to him over all kindreds, tongues, and nations. Again, that's Babylon the Great has been given power over all kindreds, tongues, and nations. Really talking about Esau, Edom, the higher up elites, the Rothschilds and Rockefellers and so on and so forth. It says, and all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him. Now, how are you going to worship this man? All right, let's go into that word worship. And all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him, whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. All right, so let's go into the word worship, proskuneo. All right, proskuneo is to kiss the hand towards one in token of reverence. All right, when you reverence somebody, that's why it says kiss the Son lest he be angry, which is to hold in high esteem, deep respect for someone or something. All right, so yes, you do have to worship Yahweh Shai. All right, you have to reverence Yahweh Shai. How are you going to get to the Father but through Yahweh Shai? You have to reverence him, right? So Esau Edom, when he implements the RFID chip, which we're getting closer and closer, man. And pretty soon we're not going to be able to make these videos to warn the people, to tell our so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, to tell the Israelites, all right, our brothers and sisters, what really is going on in the world, So how is he going to make you lick his sore? Salakia. I'm thinking of the rich man and the poor man. All right, but how is he going to make you, basically lick his sore, man? How is he going to make you reverence him? Okay? By taking that RFID chip, So those that are not written in the book of life, they're going to take that RFID chip, man. Among the Orientals, the Persians, to fall upon the knees and touch the ground with the foreheads as an expression of profound reverence, right? So that's what it means to reverence somebody. It says this is the root word, to the advantage of, okay, with regard to. So it says, Revelations 13:8, and all that dwell upon the earth shall worship him whose names are not written in the book of life of the Lamb slain from the foundation of the world. All right, so from the very beginning, it was written who were the elect. Okay, so it says, if any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. And he that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here is the patience and the faith of the saints. All right, because we know that this man's going to go into captivity when the kingdom is established. Now, here's the point. Revelations 13:11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth. And he had two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. Okay? Two horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. Now, have you been paying attention to Elder Apostle Tahar, Elder Apostle Gabar, Elder Apostle Rakah, Elder Apostle Ramlab? They make mention of 5 levels of wisdom. All right, the first and the second are the monkeys and the parrots. Monkey see, monkey do. The parrot just mimics. Okay, the third level is a toad. Okay, a toad is stubborn. And I've encountered a toad, and I can confirm that it also is true. Okay? I've seen a toad, and you have a stick, and you try to move it out of the way so no one steps on it. And it's just stubborn. It stays there. Okay? Puffs up his chest like he's not afraid. A toad is stubborn. And that's the 3 levels of a basic Jake, 2/3, and heathens. Okay, monkey see, monkey do. They say what they hear, and they're stubborn. Okay, level 4 is an owl. Okay, which the Elder Apostle Gabar went into deeply. Level 4 and 5. Level 4 is an owl. Okay, which is 360 degrees. They can turn their necks 270 degrees, but they can see 360. Okay, which also is symbolic to having 100% truth, even though we don't have the full knowledge of the Most High Yahweh, which is the name of the stars and so on and so forth. Okay, but the little bit we were given, we know in part and we prophesy in part. Okay, so level 5 is the level of a dragon. Okay, of a serpent. That's why Yahweh Shai, through the Spirit, Scripture says, be as wise as a serpent and as harmless as a dove. Okay? That means a dragon knows when to strike. A serpent knows when to strike. Okay? And their level of wisdom is much higher than the owl, than the toad, than the parrot, and the monkey. Okay? So it says, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had 2 horns like a lamb, and he spake as a dragon. Okay, so now going back over here, why should we trust either party after this mess they created, right? The Republicans and the Democrats. Okay, so when you go into history, it says elections in the Roman Republic were an essential part to its governance, with participation only being afforded to Roman citizens. Upper-class interests centered in the urban political environment of cities often trumped and concern of the device and disunified lower classes, while at times those already in power would pre-select candidates for office. You see? Those already in power would pre-select candidates for office, further reducing the value of voters' input. Is that not what we see? Okay. We see that with the corruption that goes on in the elections, man. That's why we don't really care about what's going on with the elections. Well, in the sense of us going out there and voting, okay? We don't really care. We know everything that's being set up is by the Most High, all right? It says, the candidates themselves at first remained distant from voters and refrained from public presentations. In fact, formal speech making was at one point forbidden in an effort to focus on the policies rather than the charisma of the candidate. All right. And when you go into, which let me actually do that. Dictionary, where is it? When you go into the word politician, which I went into it in a video a while back, it says a person who is active in party politics, which is pretty straightforward, or a politician. It says a seeker or holder of public office who is more concerned about winning favor or retaining power than about maintaining principles. And that's why you have people like Donald Trump saying, build up a wall. You had people like, what's this Hamite's name? Obama, okay, saying that, he wanted the homosexuals to have some type of, freedom. Why? Because they just want to gain favor. They don't really care, all right, for principles, for righteousness. Okay, it says a person who holds a political office, a person skilled in political government or administration, statesman or stateswoman, an expert in politics or political government, a person who seeks to gain power or advancement within an organization in ways that it generally disapproved or that are generally disapproved. All right, so it says from the French word politicien, dating back to 1580 to 90. All right, so that's what a politician is. Okay, so going back to this Wikipedia, it says, but they later then made up for time lost with habituary bribery, coercion, Salakia. Let me go back up. It says speech making was one point forbidden in an effort to focus on the policies rather than the charisma of the candidate. And we read what a politician is. All right, basically the charisma you have on screen, right? It's basically what people want to hear in order to gain favor. And this will go into it. It says, but later more than made up of the time lost with habituary bribery, coercion, and empty promises. You see? And that's what they're doing. I promise that I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do that, and I'm going to make America great again, and I'm going to do this. And it's getting the people's attention, okay? And they're following it, and they're falling for it, okay? And that's why it's so important for us to know the scriptures and know breakdowns, because without it, we would fall for it too. If it was possible, it would deceive the very elect, okay? But it's not possible, So it says, as the practice of electoral campaigning grew in use and extent, the pool of candidates was no longer limited to a select group, which riches and high birth. Instead, many more ordinary citizens had a chance to run for office, allowing for more equal representation in key government decisions. But check it out. The main ones were what? The plebeians and the patricians. The same thing now. Now you have different type of parties, okay? But the main ones and the ones that always end up as the top two are the Republicans and the Democrats, which further proves what we already believe, okay? This is the Roman Empire, This is Rome all over again, And this is Babylon the Great. It says, allowing more equal representation in key government decisions. Okay, going down here, during the Roman Republic, the citizens were elect almost all office holders annually. Popular elections for high office were largely undermined and then brought to an end by Augustus, the first Roman emperor, earlier known as Octavian. However, Roman elections continued at the local level. All right, so I went into the campaigning. All right, and I started going through it. Now, when we go down here to corruption, it says, since most voters saw elections as irrelevant to their own lives, many candidates resorted to bribery to convince the people to cast their votes. Bribery became such a commonplace practice in later Republican that it was seen as a normal part of the political process and ranged anywhere from the blatant promising of money to simply hosting games and entertaining the people. Okay, and how did they do that? By the Colosseums and hosting the gladiators and so on and so forth. Modern day football, modern day basketball, modern day soccer, modern day sports, modern day TV. That's what they did. Okay, sometimes during the mid second century, Polybius noted the prohibition of bribery, but this proved to be useless as it continued to be prominent in the elections and was very difficult to differentiate between bribery and the patronage system. Okay, which we'll go into that if it lets me go to it now. Okay. Yeah, it won't let me. We'll go into it after. So when you go down here, let me see if I can find it again since... Oh, here it is. Going down to 18, it says, in fact, the biggest target of this corruption was these poorer citizens, revealing that these voters still had considerable influence in the outcomes of elections. However, the consequences of such corruption caused a lack of faith in the Constitution and the political process, which led in part to civil war. All right. And what happened just recently was, the people storming into the Capitol. Why? Because they had lack of faith. They don't believe in their system anymore. Okay. And this is only going to get worse. Okay. It's only going to get worse. Look what happened to the Roman Republic, the great Roman Republic. Okay. What happened to it is it's on its last leg. All right. It was wounded to death. It didn't die, but it's on its last leg. Okay. So the same thing that happened back then is going to happen again. So let's get that in Sirach, and we'll go back to Revelation. Was it Sirach or was it? No, it was Ecclesiastes. It was in chapter 1 and chapter 3 as well. One in, let's see, a common... Ecclesiastes 1 and 10, it says, is there anything whereof it may be said, see, this is new. It hath been already of old time, which was before us. There is no remembrance of former things, neither shall there be any remembrance of things that are to come with those that shall come after. Which means what? Reincarnation. All right? If you were, you basically stay in your own stead. If you were a prophet in ancient times, you're going to be a prophet in modern times. Okay? So you're not going to remember the walk that you took and the knowledge that you had at that time. The Most High is not going to give that to you. That's basically, like if you knew you were Ezra, okay, of the ancient world. If you knew you were Ezra, okay, you're not going to say, well, I'm going to labor for this truth. Why? Because you're part of the elect. We know Ezra is the part of the elect. Isaiah, Jeremiah, Moses, Abraham. Okay, we know those men, those great men that Scripture talks about. We know those men are part of the elect. Okay, now the mystery is who they are. But the Most High knows, and that's all that really matters. But those things but the same thing with the prophets. The same thing with those old men, those old wicked men. So you had wicked Pharisees and wicked scribes. And now in Israel again, okay, you have wicked Pharisees and wicked scribes. All right, General Johanna and so on and so forth. So it says there is no remembrance of former things. So Nero, we associate Nero with Donald Trump quite a bit, because one, he really looks like Nero, and two, he acts like Nero too, He acts like he's for the people, but he's also sneaky and he'll go behind your back to get what he wants. It says, verse 12, I, the preacher, was king over Israel in Jerusalem. And who's the preacher? Yahushai. Starting with Yahushai, which back then he was Solomon. It says, and I gave my heart to seek and search out by wisdom concerning all things that are done under heaven. This sore travail hath the Most High given to the sons of man to be exercised therewith. Okay? And we're exercising in these words, man. That's why scripture says those things that were written aforetime were written for our learning. Okay? So that we can go back into the scripture and see, okay, this is how we're supposed to be, this is how that's supposed to be, and this is how this is, and this is talking about this scripture is talking about that, and this can be applied to that, It says, I have seen all the works that are done under the sun, and behold, all is vanity and vexation of spirit. That which is crooked cannot be made straight, and that which is wanting cannot be numbered. Okay? So like happened in Babylon, okay, you have been found wanting, okay? This place has been found wanting, man, So like that person said, how can we trust either side? Well, you can't. That's the simple answer. You can't trust either side. And that's why it says, however, the consequences of such corruption caused the lack of faith of the Constitution and the political process, which led in part to civil war. Okay? And that's what we're seeing now. What does the word civil war mean? It means civil, okay, which is within the city or the state or the nation. And war is pretty straightforward. I mean, it's a war, one versus the other, right? So let's go back up and go into the patronage system. It says, was the distinctive relationship in ancient Roman society between the patronus or the patron and the clients or clients. Okay, the relationship was hierarchical, but obligations were mutual. The patron was the protector, sponsor, and benefactor of the client. The technical term of this protection was patrocinium. Although typically the client was of inferior social class, a patron and client might even hold the same social rank, but the former would possess greater wealth, power, and prestige that would enable him to help or do favors for the client. From the emperor at the top of the commoner, or the commoner at the bottom, the bonds between these groups found formal expressions and legal definitions of patrons' responsibilities to clients. Patronage relationships were not exclusively between two people and also existed between a general and his soldiers, a founder and a colonist, a conqueror and a dependent foreign community. Okay, that's just going into what that word means. So going down here, it says, corruption posed the greatest problem in the latter republic when the lucrative benefits of high office led to more competitive elections. Candidates were frequently accused of breaking the laws and restricting spending, and also of direct bribing voters. Electoral crimes were known as ambitus. All right, and I know this dude, in my personal, that he had a contact that reached up to one of the presidents. Okay, and that president told him, if you vote for me and if I win, I'm gonna do this for you. All right, and I know this person personally. Okay, and guess who won? All right, that person that told him that if he won, he would do certain favors for him, and that's just how this world works, man. Which goes to show that this isn't a righteous government. All right, which govern. All right, which to rule over, and ment goes into the mind. All right, to rule over your mind. That world control that Yahweh Hashem Yahushai is gonna be a godly government. Okay, why? Because we're not gonna go off. Okay, we're not gonna be doing wicked things anymore, man. So going back to Revelations 13. Well, really, let me go back to this. So many nasty, evil, corrupted career politicians. All right, and I went into the word politicians, which means to gain favor. All right, so they automatically, that word politicians and corrupted should be intertwined one with the other, or it's anonymous. All right, liars in the capital. Shame on the media, social media. All right, we tired of being lied to. This ain't over. So the people are tired, man. All right. So all these politicians are doing is really showing their horns. Revelations 13 and 11. And I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth. And he had two horns like a lamb. And he spake as a dragon. Okay. Which when you speak as a dragon, you're what? You're speaking like a serpent. And a serpent did what? A serpent was cunning. Okay. Let's look up that word cunning. Skill employed in a shrewd or sly manner, as in deceiving, craftiness, guile. Okay, so let me play this video.
And tell me that if had been a group of Black Lives Matter protesting yesterday, they wouldn't have been treated very, very differently than the mob of thugs that stormed the Capitol. We all know that's true. And it is unacceptable, totally unacceptable.
Now, if that's not a form of sly and guile and deceivingness and craftiness, and I don't know what is, man. Okay, these people, these devils are cunning, all right, and they speak as a dragon. Now, when we go into the word dragon here in Revelations 13 and 11, it's dracon, okay? Dracon, a dragon, a serpent, a great serpent, name of Satan, all right? So when you look up in the dictionary, draconian, Salakia. Oops. Draconian, of relating to or characteristics of the Athenian statesman Draco or his severe code of laws. All right, they're called draconian laws, which are severe code of laws, often lowercase, rigorous, usually severe or cruel. Okay, so the things that he's speaking are words of a deceiving manner. This is Psalms, what was it, 58? Psalms 58 and 1. To the chief musician, Ataskith, Michtham of David, do ye indeed speak righteousness, O congregation? Do ye judge uprightly, O ye sons of men? All right, and scripture also says, what have ye to declare my statutes? You know, because they say they're a God-fearing country, okay? But they don't actually fear the Most High. Because if they did, they wouldn't allow these wicked laws, man. These deceiving laws, you know. It says, yea, in heart ye work wickedness. You weigh the violence of your hands in the earth. You see? You weigh the violence of your hands in the earth. You know, and that's what they're doing, going into those foreign countries, pillaging, raping women, children, and killing them off, stealing their land, stealing their resources, you know? And they say it's for the name of democracy. Okay? Verse 4, their poison is like the poison of a serpent. They are like the deaf adder that stoppeth her ear. Okay? So speaking lies is seen as a poison of a serpent, right? So when we go back to Revelations 13, that dragon is spelled dracon. So we went to draconian laws and saw what that meant. Okay. And then when we go to Salakia, it says Revelations 13 and 11, and I beheld another beast coming up out of the earth, and he had two horns like a lamb. So those two horns represent the the plebeians and patricians, which were back then, and now they're back again as the Democrats and the Republicans. Okay? And the lamb is docile and humble. Okay? A lamb is docile and humble. This is Psalms 55 and verse 20. He hath put forth his hands against such as be at peace with him. He hath broken his covenant, which is who? Against Israel. It says, verse 21, the words of his mouth were smoother than butter, but war was in his heart. His words were softer than oil, yet were they drawn swords. You see? So this man is all about speaking uprightly and being wicked as all hell. Okay? So he had two horns like a lamb. All right, those two horns are the Republicans and the Democrats, and the lamb is him speaking smoothly. You saw how Sleepy Joe spoke. All right, hitting the desk and saying, "This is unrighteous. This is unacceptable." Okay? Speaking like a lamb. Okay? Or spake as a dragon, but acting like a lamb. You know? And he had two horns. You see? Which ultimately goes up to the elite. You know, the elite are the ones in control. And they tell these dudes what to do. You know? And in verse 12 it says, and he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him. And the reason why I went into the history of this stuff is because it's so, what's that word? It's mirroring what is happening today. Okay? Why? Because this is the Roman system all over again. You know? So let me go to this. (1957) Treaty of Rome. The Treaty of Rome, or the EEC Treaty, brought about the creation of the European Economic Community, the best known as the European Communities. The treaty was signed on 25th of March 1957. Belgium, France, Italy, Luxembourg, Netherlands, West Germany, and it came into force on the 1st of January 1958, which it was actually Germany, Belgium, France, Italy, Luxembourg, Netherlands, and West Germany. Okay? Which really there was a lot more than that, you know. But that's what the Treaty of Rome is. You know, so when you go into the Treaty of Rome, because they put Germany and West Germany as one, okay, when there was really 10 in total. And, you know, over the years, I saw that it's continuously decreasing, okay? And they're not putting all the names up there. Why? Because they fulfilled prophecy without even knowing it, you know, and they don't want to show that. The treaty proposes the progressive reduction of custom duties and the establishment of a custom union, okay? It proposed to create a single market for goods, labor, services, and capital across member states. It also proposed the creation of a common agriculture policy, a common transport policy, and a European social fund, and established the European Commission. The treaty has been amended on several occasions since 1957. The Maastricht Treaty in 1992 removed the word economic from the Treaty of Rome official title. In 2009, the Treaty of Lisbon renamed the Treaty on the Functioning of the European Union. And why is that? Again, because they're fulfilling prophecy. And what happened around the time of 2009? The elders and apostles started going on to YouTube and started exposing this stuff, man. You know? So back in Revelations 13 and 12. And he exercises all the power of the first beast before him, which what made Rome popular and powerful was the trading, okay? The Roman Empire was made wealthy by way of trading. Now, how was America made wealthy? By the merchants of the earth, which means what? The trading, okay? The trading with China, the trading with so on and so forth, okay? Which recently, China and Iran said that they're ready for war, you know? They're ready for this place to fall, man. They're more than ready. All right. So it says, and he exerciseth all the power of the first beast before him, which is the Roman Empire, and causeth the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast whose deadly wound was healed. Okay. And again, that word worship goes into the word reverence, right? Power of the first beast before him, and caused the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast. Okay, so that word is proskeneo again, which is to kiss the hand toward one in token of reverence. Okay, so they caused the world to reverence the Roman society, all right, or the Roman system, which is exactly what was established in 1957, all right, and it's exactly what is being established up to date. Plebeians, the patricians, democracy, and the way of life that the Romans lived. Okay, that's the same thing that's happening now. Why do you think you have Christmas Day off? Okay, because it goes back to the Roman society in Saturnalia. Okay, they're not worshiping the high holy days of the Most High. Okay, they're worshiping their own. Okay, their own traditions. And our people are so blind that they can't even see it. You know? So going back to Revelations 13 and 12, and he exercised all the power of the first beast before him, which is the system, and caused the earth and them which dwell therein to worship the first beast whose deadly wound was healed. How was it healed? When was the Roman Empire healed? Because every single time the Roman Empire tried to strike back and come back into power, which you had it done, I believe, 2 more times after the Roman Empire fell, you had the Roman Empire which tried to be revived, and it kept dying and dying and dying. Why? Because the Most High said it's not the time. Okay? But now when Babylon the Great has been established, they become the forefront. All right? They're sitting on this system at the very top. Okay? Which is the whore that sitteth on the beast. It says, and he goeth and he doeth great wonders, so that he maketh fire come down from heaven on the earth in the sight of men. And when did that happen? In Nagasaki and Hiroshima. That's the first time and only time, okay, that those type of nuclear weapons have been released on another country. Okay? So he deceived the whole earth by those means of the, it says in the next one, and deceived them that dwell on the earth by the means of those miracles, which he had power to do in the sight of the beast, saying to them that dwell on the earth, that they should make an image to the beast, which had the wound by a sword and did live. Which, what is the image? Okay? What is the image? The system that we live in. Okay? And then it goes on to the RFID chip, man. You know? But to go back to, where is it at? Oh, it's over here. But to go back to this, why should anyone trust either party after this mess they created? The simple answer is you can't. Okay? So let me end it with this. This is a classic that the elders always bring out. It says, Ecclesiastes, or Sirach, chapter 12, verse 10. Never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. Okay? So you might have some piece of shiny iron, okay, which is an enemy, figuratively speaking, okay? But if you trust your enemy, your iron, so much, eventually rust comes back on that iron, okay? Which is the wickedness of a man will always come back, unless he is truly changed into the ways of Yahweh Hashem Yahushai. All right? Sin is always trying to creep back in, man. Especially if you're an Edomite, all right, going against an Israelite, you know, especially that time, man. So never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. That means he's always going to be wicked. And no matter how good he is for a time period, you shouldn't trust him because he's always going to try and attack you, you know. So how can you trust a system, okay, that is ready to be collapsed? You know, so I hope that was edifying. And with that, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise unto Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone And shalom to the elect. Shalom.